Hey everyone, it's Preacher Man again. Welcome back to another video, and I am doing an NFL mock draft of all 32 teams. Well, the first round at least, because the NFL draft is right around the corner. The countdown is officially on, just 3 days left. And who was the last third overall pick? Who was the third overall pick of last year? Okay, there was Caleb. Oh, Drake May. Wait, was it Drake May? Yeah, it was. Or was it Drake May? I think it was actually. I'm probably stupid because I know it was. Yeah, it was because it was Williams, then Jaden Daniels, then Drake May. Yeah, 3 more days left, everyone. And the Broncos probably tomorrow. I'll make a full-on 7 round mock with the Broncos. But let's go ahead and get this started. Start the draft. Um, it's gonna be a long Thursday. Watch what I tell you when that shit happens. All right, so the first pick. Hold on, let me move it up. Scroll up. Oh, hold on. I gotta center it. Move that over so you can see the teams at least. There, that's far enough. I think it's pretty obvious who the Titans are gonna be getting with that number 1 pick. It's written in the stars, in a sky full of stars. They're gonna get this guy, Cameron Ward, quarterback out of Miami. I give this pick a B plus pick because I'm not gonna give it an A because it's not an easy pick, but they do need a quarterback. Will Levis sucks. I know Brian Callahan's not really been that good. The weapons aren't as pure. But Will Levis, man, he's just a turnover machine. He's a stupid decision maker. The offensive line may not still be good, but still, Cameron Ward, he has an arm, but he's going to be one of those big boom or bust kind of picks. I give it a B plus because I'm not going to give it an A because I like Cameron Ward. I think he's the best quarterback in this draft. Obviously, yes, he's better than Shedeur Sanders. Next up, the Browns. This is tricky. They need a lot, but I got this. I think they're gonna do this. I got the Browns taking Abdul Carter, edge pass rusher from Penn State. I love this guy. This might be my favorite player in the whole draft. And if the Browns get him, I think this will be. You could argue he's the best player in the draft. He reminds me so much of Nick Bosa, the way he bends and turns the corner with some power that turns into speed. And then he's going to be on the opposite of Myles Garrett, who's going to be teaching him. Woo! Man. Rip to the tackles who got to see that across their faces. I give this pick a slam dunk pick. I think this is an A pick. It's just a best player available pick. Like, you could argue that they could go quarterback, but were you think that they should take Shedeur this high, though? Like, I don't think they should. Like, Shedeur being this high, like, hold on, let me zoom that out. There you go. Now you can see it a little bit better. Yeah, I don't think they should take Shedeur this high. Now, the New York Giants. See, the Giants is tricky because they need a quarterback, but they signed Jameis Winston and they just signed Russell Wilson and they re-signed Tommy DeVito, who's going to be the emergency quarterback, obviously, because his family has ties in New York. Hey, ma, what's up? Italian pizza guy. Yeah, I'm not joking. That's actually the thing. But the Giants, I think the Giants, they're gonna get, huh? The Giants, they're gonna get this guy right here. They're gonna get Travis Hunter, corner athlete, corner wide receiver, whatever you want to call it, from Colorado. I give this pick an A pick because I know a lot of Giant fans are going to be saying, "Oh, but we didn't get a quarterback." Listen, y'all are going to have to put your quarterback that you're going to draft next year, or who knows, later in this draft, because Jackson Dart is a project quarterback. Same with Quinn Ewers, but I know he's going to suck. But you want to put a quarterback in the most comfortable situation as possible. And I think when you got Malik Neighbors and then you're going to possibly put Travis Hunter on that side of the ball as well, and then he can help out your secondary too. In a Giants corner room that's a complete disaster. Deontay Banks is looking more and more like a bust, and it's just I think this will be a really good pick for the Giants. Next up, we got the New England Patriots. This one's somewhat of an easier call. They're gonna take this guy right here. They're gonna take Will Campbell, tackle out of LSU. He's the best tackle in the class. I don't think it's that close. He's one of those perennial tackles. He's been an All-American his whole college career. Like he's so good, man. He reminds me a lot of Ryan Ramczyk, and he was a very good tackle. Now they need to protect Drake May at all costs. They took care of some defense and they signed Stephon Diggs. He's not a long term option. They can look for that in the later rounds for a receiver, but they need to get offensive line because Drake May, man, he kept getting concussed. Like man, it's just gonna have to be better than that. So that's why I think getting Will Campbell will be a slam dunk. I give this pick an A pick because he's by far the best tackle. Next up, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. It says they need a wide receiver. I could see them going in a bunch of multiple directions. I don't think they'll go wide receiver. I think they'll go defense. I think they're going to go defense because their defense was not good last year. I'll go with Mason Graham, defensive lineman out of Michigan. I think he's the best interior guy in this whole draft. He reminds me a lot of DeForest Buckner, how he can clog up the middle of the defensive line, and he can also pass rush. He's not as injury prone as him. Like granted that the Michigan defensive line had a lot of dogs, like Kenneth Grant, another nose tackle who's in this draft, but I think he falls in the late first or early second. But Mason Graham, I think he will be a very polished nose tackle, and him being a little taught by Eric Armstead, who's still with Jacksonville, I think. So yeah, that definitely helps. Um, the Las Vegas Raiders, unfortunately, they are going to be taking Ashton Jetney, running back from Boise State. Really one of the best running back prospects this generation has seen in a minute. Like, he was this close to breaking Barry Sanders' all-time collegiate record, but unfortunately, he fell short. I do think, however, with, Pete Carroll loving to run the ball, how he had with Marshawn Lynch in the Legion of Boom days, and knowing his history of getting running back like this, and the Raiders, who were, I think, dead last in the league at running the ball, they need a run back. I hope he sucks. I hope he's a bust. I hope he turns into Trent Richardson over there. um, what's next? Oh, the Jets. The Jets, quarterback, wide receiver, tackle, defensive line. I think they're going to focus more on the offensive side of the ball because defensively, I think they're fine defensively, but it's just I don't know why Walter Nolan's that high. By the way, he's not a top 10 pick. He's more like top 20-ish. But the Jets, I don't know. I could see them taking a receiver, but I think I think they're gonna take a tackle here because Olu Fashanu, like they got him, but Tyron Smith retired. Elijah Vera Tucker, that guy was a bust. So I think they are going to take a tackle here. I got them taking this guy right here. Let's go with Armand Mimbu, tackle out of Mizzou. I think he's a good tackle. I give this pick a B because I'm not going to give it an A. I still feel like the Jets, knowing how they are, they need better positioning. I think with Justin Fields, he can survive behind that offensive line, but I think they need another weapon. In this case, I would take Tedoroy and McMillan somewhat, but I think knowing the Jets, they would take a tackle, try to protect their quarterback, and try to learn for once. Because after what they did a couple years ago to Aaron Rodgers, like, come on. The Carolina Panthers, I could see them taking a receiver, but they need edge, man. Like losing when they traded Brian Burns away, they have no pass rush at all. I think they are going to take this dude right here, Mike Green, edge rusher out of Marshall. Like I think this is kind of a reach for the Panthers, but let's be for real. It's Marshall Green. He can bend. He kind of reminds me of Joey Bosa the way he plays. Yes, he's the lesser Bosa brother, but still, he's a really good edge rusher. Excuse me. But he can bend. He has that speed. He got some strength on him. He can bulldoze you. It's just the Panthers. They need to help that defense. Their defense was the worst in the league by far, even worse than the Bengals, and that says a lot. The Saints. I could see the Saints looking at a lot like a quarterback because Derek Carr. We don't know what he's gonna be. That could sideline him, but I think the Saints are too stupid to do that. I think they're gonna go. don't know. The Saints are kind of tricky. They need a lot, man. I don't know what the Saints will get. They need a lot. Um, fuck it. I think they'll do a best player available mentality. I think they take. I think they take Tedoroy McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. And yes, I know they say, oh, but they got Olave and they got Shaheed, but I feel like McMillan's a big body target, and I think he sees like what the Saints are doing, and somewhat. But I think this is one of those best player available type of picks, you know. So I don't know. I don't, in this I give this pick a B minus, and here's why. I feel like in this situation, even though he's a reach, I would take Walter Nolan, or I would look at that, or more importantly, I would look at their secondary. Like I would probably take my chance on Will Johnson when you think about it, because their secondary is a joke. Like they have no good corners outside of maybe Kool Aid McKinstry. The Bears, they need a running back, defensive line, and a safety. I think the Bears are going to look at something for like a pass rusher because all they have is Montez Sweat. So I think they're going to look at defensive end on this case. Now, who will they target? I have no fucking idea. But I know that the Bears, cause but then again, it is the Bears. They like weapons, but I think they're gonna go on the defensive side of the ball, and I don't know. I think they're gonna, I think they're gonna reach for somebody. I think they're gonna get this dude right here, this guy from Boston College. I can't pronounce his last name. They need an edge rusher anyway because, like, I'm not even joking, man. They don't have a good pass rush. It's just Montez Sweat. That's really it when you think about it, man. I give this pick a B. I give this pick a C plus, and the reason why is because I feel like there are other edge rushers available. In this situation, I would look at Shamar Stewart or even JPJ. Yes, I know his character issues are kind of a issue, but it's still a very talented player, and he's fast too. But I don't think the Bears will take that chance, knowing Ryan Poles bum ass. The the Niners, they need offensive line. I think they're gonna go after this dude right here, Josh Simmons, tackle out of Ohio State. They need offensive line. That offensive line is in shambles. Like it's one of the reasons why the Niners can't get shit done. Like Brock Purdy has to run, even though he's not a mobile quarterback. Well, he can move if he wants to, but it's not a guy who can survive behind that offensive line. And it's just they need offensive line bad, and I think Josh Simmons will really work out. Is it someone to reach? Maybe a little, but they need tackles, man. They need a lot. They need an edge. They need a corner. They need a guard, and they need a tackle. So, but I think going tackle, offensive line, knowing Kyle Shanahan, tackles come first for the offensive line. The Cowboys, they need a running back, they need a receiver, they need a guard, they need an edge. I think they go wide receiver. I think they're going to reach for this one. I think they're going to take Luther Burden, wide receiver out of Mizzou. Now, I could also see them taking Matthew Golden from Texas because he's a home state guy. You know how Jerry Jones does that. Luther Burden, I give this pick a B minus, and the reason why is because I feel like if they want to take a receiver to be on the opposite of CeeDee Lamb, I would much prefer Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State because Ohio State has a better history of wide receivers than Mizzou. Like what Mizzou wide receiver did good in the NFL recently, speaking wise, but it's a B minus pick. Like it's going to be a good pick. I think Burden, he's just a little too one dimensional with his run after the catch route running. He's not physical. He's not really physical, and you need that in the NFL to try to win over jump balls and such. He kind of lets his speed get to his head. The Dolphins, they need a guard, they need a tackle, they need a defensive line, they need a corner. This is where I think the Dolphins, they're going to take this guy right here. They're going to take Will Johnson, corner out of Michigan. I give this pick an A, and the reason is because I like Will Johnson. He was projected to be arguably a top 5 pick, definitely a top 10 pick, but due to the injury he suffered in his last year with the Wolverines, he fell down. He'll be in the top half of the draft for sure. If he gets past 15, I'll be shocked. But I think he's a really good corner. He reminds me a lot of Darius Slay. Darius Slay in his prime was really locked down. That's why they call him Big Play Slay. The Colts. I think knowing the Colts, they need a tight end in the worst way. They're gonna get Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. They need a tight end so bad. They needed one for years, ever since Jack Doyle retired. Like Mo Alley Cox, he's garbage. He's a good backup, but he's just not a starter. Offensive weapons to help out Richardson or Dan Jones now, or whoever the quarterback's going to be. Now watch Dan Jones become the starter because Anthony Richardson's that bad, and it's Shane Steichen. That's a Shane Steichen type of pick too. And Chris Ballard, he can draft, he just can't fucking do trades. The Atlanta Falcons, it says they need a wide receiver, but I'm not gonna give them a wide receiver. They need more than just a wide receiver, man. And I don't like how the way PFF. Look how they rank this shit. Like what? I'm gonna give them Shamar Stewart, edge out of A&M. Dude had one of the best combines for an edge this year, and probably in one of the NFL history, man. Like, this guy has the potential to be a Myles Garrett clone. Not gonna lie, Myles Garrett came from A&M. He has the size. The production didn't come from him because obviously Nick Scoring was taking a lot of sacks, but Stewart was just cleaning them up. But I think the Falcons, this will be a good pick for him because Matthew Judon, they traded for him and he became a bust. So they need pass rush. They need pass rush for years. Like, I'm not even joking. The Falcons have been consistently last within the NFL of getting sacks and pressures, man. That's got to change for their sake of the argument. Arizona. They need a guard, they need a defensive line, and they need a corner. I think in this case, they do need. I think their secondary is more of a problem than their pass rush. I think their pass rush will be fine since they got Josh Sweat. I'm gonna give them Jahdae Barron, corner out of Texas. He's a very good corner. I like this guy. He really did good. He was one of the better defensive players in the SEC, coming from a guy who watches college football a lot. It's better than the NFL, by the way. I don't care. Jahdae Barron, he's such a good lockdown corner. Dare I say he kind of reminds me a little bit of Derek Stingley, give or take. I think this will be a great pick for Arizona, and it'll help out the back end for Jonathan Gannon. It's just Kyler Murray needs to get his fucking short head out of his damn ass. Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. It says they need a guard, defensive lineman, and a linebacker. I don't think they need a linebacker because they have Logan Wilson. They do need another option because Jermaine Pratt is going to get traded. But I think this is where I think they need interior. I'm gonna give them this guy. I'm gonna give them Walter Nolan, defensive lineman from Ole Miss. Now his character issues is a concern, obviously, but I think for the Bengals they can sort this out. They need interior. They need pass rush in general, man. Like Trey Henderson was literally getting all the sacks. He was accounting for almost every sack in every time. Every time a Bengals got the sack, Trey Henderson. Like nobody else. Just their pass rush is a joke. The Seahawks, they need a center, a guard, and an edge. Well, they need interior offensive line to protect Sam Darnold. I think they go after this guy right here, Tyler Booker, guard out of Alabama. Now, Alabama has had some good, solid history with offensive line, some boomer bust types. But the Seahawks, they need offensive line. Like, that was one of the main problems why Geno Smith kept getting sacked. It's been a problem for years, even with Russell Wilson was there, and they refused to fix it because they like the quick passing game. But I think this will be a solid pick. I give this pick a B plus pick. Oh, I forgot to give my picks for y'all. Walter Nolan, that's a B plus because of the characters. So I'm not giving them a name. The Buccaneers, they need an edge, they need a linebacker, and they need a DB. I could see a few options they could go with, but I think just because Lavonte David, he's old and he's not washed for his standards. He's washed. He's still a good linebacker, but not in his prime anymore. We're gonna give him Campbell out of Alabama, somebody to help out Lavonte David so he can learn 1 year next to him all the fundamentals, how to cover the middle of the field. And this will be a good pick for the Buccaneers. I know they need edge, which they do because Joe Tryon Shoyinka, he left. He signed somewhere else. He was a bust. And I feel like this will be a good pick. I give this pick a B. Because in this case, I know I get it, they need another linebacker, but in this case, I think they should go after an edge rusher. I would look at JPJ or Big Michael Williams from Georgia, and that's pretty much on that side. Now, next, my Broncos. My Broncos are on the clock. We need a running back, a receiver, a center, and a defensive um, interior. I almost said corner. They don't need a corner. Set there. A running back, a receiver, a center. Yeah, they do need a. Luke Wadenberg is replaceable. Defensive interior. See, I don't agree with that. I agree with some depth there, but I don't agree with that. Like, we resigned DJ Jones, John Franklin Myers, Zach Allen. It's all good. In this pick, I think this. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, but Amari and Hampton." To be honest, I think this is what's going to happen. I think we're going to go after this guy right here, Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver out of Ohio State. I could also see the Broncos taking Matthew Golden from Texas. They met with him. I could also see us taking, obviously, Amari and Hampton. But as long as it's an offensive player, I really don't care, like receiver or running back wise. But I think because before we all thought we needed a tight end, like Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland. But I don't think so. I think this is gonna be the case. We're gonna get Egbuka. He's a very good wide receiver. He reminds me of Amon-Ra St. Brown the way he plays. And we need that. We need a number one receiver. Like Courtland Sutton, like he's a very good number two, just not a guy who can take over games. Let's see. The Steelers. All right, time to get it going. Y'all been wondering where the fuck has this guy been? They are gonna draft Shedeur Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado. He fits the Steelers. He's a diva. Mike Tomlin, he loves Mike Tomlin. And they like diva players. Him, George Pickens, and DK Metcalf. That might be a scary duo. They're all going to fight in the locker room, though. But still, it's a very good pick for the Steelers. They need a quarterback because Aaron Rodgers is like, fuck you. Who the fuck do you think I am? And some bullshit like that. The Chargers, I think they go Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan. They need a tight end. Their tight ends is terrible. They were in on the Evan Ingram sweepstakes, but the Broncos swooped in and took him. He chose Bo Nix over Justin Herbert. So what does that tell you? Exactly, we got the better Oregon quarterback. But you could say they need a wide receiver. I think they'll be fine with McConkey by himself. And plus, the only other wide receiver you can consider is Golden, but he's just another slot guy, and they don't need that. They need a guy on the outside. The Packers, they need a wide receiver, but some reason they never take wide receivers in the fucking first round or some shit. But in this case, I'll give them a wide receiver. I will give them Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. And plus, they need speed. They need help. Romeo Doubs he's mid. Jaden Reed is underrated though. Dontavian Wicks is he's more like a rotational player. So, and this is a Matt LaFleur type of pick. I could also see them taking something on the defensive line like Kenneth Grant. So I would give this pick actually an A minus. I really like Matthew Golden. He's the fastest guy in the draft, and I think this is going to be really good for the Packers. The Minnesota Vikings. It says they need a running back. They have Aaron Jones, man. Now, earlier, if they didn't resign Jones, then I would have agreed with it, but I don't think that's the case now. I think they're going to go defensive line. So they're going to go – they signed Hargrave, but they're going to get somebody to match him and learn next to him. They're going to get Kenneth Grant, defensive lineman out of Michigan. I like this guy. I think he's an underrated stud. I think he kind of reminds me I'm trying to think of a comparison. Who's a good run stopping nose tackle? He reminds me of Kenny Clark, Very good in the run. It's just his pass is better than Kenny Clark's, but he's mainly a run stopping specialist machine. So that's the problem on that one. So I think I give this pick a B plus for the Vikings. Next up, the Texans. We all know what they're gonna do. They showed it. They're gonna get a tackle. Kevin Banks. He's a Texas guy, so he stays in his state. They need a tackle. They traded Laramie Tunsil to the Redskins, and then they let Shaq Mason go. Like, they need offensive line, man. C.J. Stroud was getting buried out there, and he somehow went to the second round, which is crazy. This shows you how good he is. The Rams, they need a tight end, they need a tackle, they need a linebacker, they need a corner. Um, Damn, this is kind of crazy. What the fuck should I give them? I guess I'll have to give them. They don't need a fucking edge, man. They have good amount of those. I'll give them Jalen Walker, linebacker out of Georgia. That seems like a Rams type pick to improve their offense. Like, I mean, not their offense, their defensive middle of the field coverage, because their linebacker middle of the field wise is not very good. So I'll give them that part. Now the Ravens, a guard, an edge, a DB. I got them taking James Pierce Jr. He falls here. He's a very polished edge rusher. It's just he's just a guy where, like, his character, again, it's another character issues guy. Like, that's why he had problems at Tennessee, man. Just we don't know what he's gonna do. So I'll give him that one. The Lions, they need a wide receiver, a guard, an edge, and a linebacker. I don't think they'll take wide receiver. I think they're kind of set there, but I do think. See, I don't know why this guy is so low. I think they'll get Michael Williams, edge out of Georgia. Georgia has a good history with defense, and this is a Dan Campbell type pick because there was rumors Jack Sawyer, but he kind of fell to the second round. But they need edge, man. Like, it can't just be Aiden Hutchinson by himself. Washington needed a running back, a guard, an edge, a corner, and yeah, that's it. Okay, I think this is what they're gonna do. I think they're gonna take Omarion Hampton, running back out of North Carolina. This is a guy I think the Broncos will pick, but he has so much screening on him because he's such a good running back. Plus, they need a running back. Austin Eckler's not good, and Brian Robinson Jr. is mid. All right, he's just the second option. And this will help out Jaden Daniels in their offense, by the way. The Bills, it says they need an edge, a linebacker, and a corner. I think they'll go best player available. I think they'll get this steal right here. Malachi Starks, safety out of Georgia. He reminds me so much of Kyle Hamilton. I think he will be the biggest wild card in the draft with the steal of the draft. He's falling because of his speed concerns. He's not very fast. He's more like a late 4.5s guy, which is not very good if you're a safety. You want that closing speed, but I think the Bills will straighten him out. You can't teach speed, but I think it'll be fine with them. The Chiefs, this is pretty easily. They could either go Josh Corn, but I think they're going to go this guy, Gray Zabel, tackle, interior. You know, he can play the interior as well out of North Dakota State. They need offensive line to protect Patrick Mahomes. It's been a travesty of what they've been going through. Not for me though, but their offensive line is blasphemous. It's terrible, you know, and that's just the end of it. The Eagles they don't fucking need a damn receiver. Get the fuck out of here, man. They need a fucking receiver. I think they do need an edge though after losing Josh Sweat. I think they go this guy right here, Nick Scorton. Nick Scorton was an edge out of Texas A&M. He had some high praise. People say he was better than Shamar Stewart at one point. I don't necessarily agree with that. I still don't agree with it, but some reason fucking PFL has him ranked higher than Shamar Stewart, which is some absolute bullshit. It's just I don't think It's just I don't believe that Shamar Stewart is better. Like Texas A&M, like it's gonna be kind of intriguing how they do. But I'm not sure for the draft as soon as the results come up. But it's just for their sake, I'm not sure if the Eagles are. I don't think Scoring's gonna fall that far, to be honest with you. Like the edge class is deep though. Don't get me wrong. It's just I don't think the Eagles. No, they may actually take a receiver. They may get like Iomaner for all we know, or fucking Jalen Royals. Coleman's fucking glazing boy. Um, those are the draft picks, everyone. Hope you like it. So remember, draft day is right around the corner, and I will see you guys soon. Sorry, this video is 30 minutes long. I just wanted to analyze every pick. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I will see you guys soon. See you in the draft. I'm not gonna do a hangout, unfortunately. I'll be on Discord for once. I'm just gonna be on Discord for that one because I'm not being on Discord right now. But I'll see you guys soon. Peace out. Go Broncos. Hopefully they get a receiver like Abuka or Golden or a running back like Hampton or by some miracle Jet.